is going on, everybody? Welcome. I'm the Creepy Kentuckian, and this is history, the complete history. We're going to try to make it complete, of Evil Dead on home video. You're wondering, why am I here by myself? Well, I'm going to do some introductions, baby. I'm professional. The long-awaited return. He's been in Kansas City for the last few days, but he is back. He's back home. It's the Rated G Superstar. Yeah. That's your wrestling intro, man.
What's going on, everybody? Can you hear me? I feel like I can't hear you now.
I can
you
hear
me
you.
all right?
Yeah, can you hear me?
What the heck?
We're professionals here.
I don't know. I don't know why. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me at all.
Hold on a second.
What the hell? It was
all right, people
earlier.
In the chat, can you hear both of us? Because I can't hear Wes.
Well, we've got another special guest in here. We're going to try to get Garrett's audio figured out here.
I don't know, man. Hold up.
We're talking Evil Dead. So, of course, you got to have...
What's going on? What's going on?
Whoa.
I don't know why I can't hear Wes.
Can everybody hear me? Everybody can hear what's going on. Is your earbuds dead or something? No, they're wired. They're wired.
So weird.
Earbuds.
I'm going to go switch my headphones.
Okay. Anyway, I'll do the introduction. If we're talking Evil Dead, you got to have one person, boss. Shut up! The Evil Dead chick. What's going on, Dana?
Hey.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Not much. Actually, I was almost going to sleep before this was getting ready to start, but I think I'm better now.
You better drink you some cold coffee drink or whatever.
I got some Mountain Dew, so...
I got my peach drink handy over here. I haven't cracked it open yet, but good to have you on here. A lot of people are going to be asking if they're not already in the chat. Uncle Bill. What's going on with Uncle Bill? That's the question, Garrett.
Yeah.
And anybody that checked out earlier today, the MWO podcast, poor old Uncle Bill got a new modem, right? But it's an old modem. He downgraded. So the fine, folks at Intermountain Cable here in Eastern Kentucky, he was having issues with his internet. Here's the issues he was having. He had to reset his modem a couple of times a week. That's kind of annoying, right? But now it's like he's on dial-up internet speed, 28.8K speeds, boys. Windows 95. He would probably even have issues running AOL Instant Messenger on that shit.
Yeah, that's wild, man. That's wild that they came in and wrecked it all. And then when he called and complained, they basically were like, yeah, we don't know why that guy installed that. He's like, I don't know why either.
We fired that guy. That's what they said. But yeah, I mean, his internet's still acting up. So unfortunately, he is not going to be in here tonight, I don't think, unless some sort of miracle happens with his router or modem. But this is going to be fun because these shows, I was talking to Garrett earlier. I can't believe it's been over a year since we've done one of these shows.
That is wild. I think, like you said, I think Texas Chainsaw was the last one. And I guess that was probably over a year ago. We probably did it maybe around the time that new movie had come out, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was like February last year we did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one. And what's interesting is look at all the releases that series has had since then.
Right.
It's like every year there's more Texas Chainsaw stuff. So we may have to do a revised version of that down the line. But man, this one that we're doing, and thankfully Dana's in here, and we may have a surprise guest a little bit later on. We'll see. But Dana, like, you're known as the Evil Dead chick. So What better person to talk about all the releases? I'm guessing that at least over the years, you've purchased pretty much all of these. And we're going to go through them one by one. So I thought, perfect person to get on this show. So welcome. And people that hasn't checked out her channel, just search for Evil Dead Chick. She is the one and only.
Mm-hmm.
I think I am. I don't see anybody else that's Evil Dead Chick related on YouTube.
The only other Evil Dead Chick is like your past accounts that you can't get into, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I looked
exactly.
it up. So, but we got a lot of people in the chat already like 73 people watching us right now live. And I understand there's a lot of people trying to stream tonight. And I feel sorry for them because we're going to whip all their asses.
Oh, God. No, there was a lot of people streaming tonight, actually, because right before I came on, I was working out and just kind of skimming through who was streaming, and there was probably like 5 people streaming right now. So,
Cool.
But yeah, there's a lot of people on tonight. But it's going to be a cool show, and like you said, it's great having Dana here because, again, she can hopefully round out some of the stuff that we don't have. And I was talking to you guys about this before we went live. Is I thought I had way more than this, so I must have definitely sold a lot throughout the years, or had boxed some away, like when I got upgrades and stuff like that. Just because with this franchise, there's been, especially Army of Darkness, I feel like there's been so many additions through the years that it got really confusing. And I was just surprised on how little I had of this franchise when I feel like I've had so many additions of this, and I just don't know where they'd gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know where my VHS went because they're somewhere in this house, I'm sure, but I couldn't find them. I had the VHS that came in the little lunch boxes. I had 2 different lunch boxes with those VHS in there, and I can't for the life of me find them now.
Were they Evil Dead lunchboxes?
Mm-hmm.
That's sick. I've actually never even seen those.
Yeah, those are, I think Anchor Bay did those, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to be getting into all this stuff, and this is a crazy list. Like, I worked on this list off and on for like 2 or 3 days, just scouring eBay, looking at releases and everything. And a lot of the foreign releases, we're not going to get into too much detail because it just gets too confusing. But we are going to talk about a few select releases over in Australia, the UK, wherever they came out. Because, man, it's confusing enough just doing the US stuff for this series, because there's a ton of releases. But let's get into the chat real quick since we've got so many people in here. We're going to do a roll call, and we are multi-streaming tonight on the Born to Be Rad channel, Dead Pits, and I think we're on Facebook as well, live on Facebook. So Strange Tennessean, Video, Knob, the Mayor, Chris V, Curtis Jaws, one of the busiest men in YouTube business. Chris V, Raised on Fiction, Matt, Kevin Woods, Born to Be Rad is in here. All right. My Killer Podcast, Kill the Like Button Violently. Yeah, super kick it. I'll tell you to do something else to it a little bit later. Maggot Fingers, Jason Werner, Crash 517, Jason Guy, our good buddy. What is going on tonight, sir? I'm going to have him on here in hopefully a couple weeks. Jason Naylor, Planet Mondo, Austin Wilcutt, Adrian James, Ross Jordan, Carter Derdention. Yeah, the list goes on and on. I'm Twisted Trucker. I think that's one that I mentioned. Josh 8K. So lots of people in here tonight. We're going to go ahead and get the show on the road. Ken Carlson, Movie Junkie John, Carter Derdention, Tales from the Tape, Steve Mayers, J7 Flesher, Ali Hamoud. What is up, sir?
What's up, everybody?
So to get this party started, let's go through our history with this. What point in time, what movie got you into the Evil Dead franchise? And since her name is Evil Dead Chick, let's let her start. What movie was it, Dana?
Evil Dead 2 actually got me in the franchise because that was the one that cover just stood out at the video rental store with the skull on there and the Dead by Dawn tagline, all of that stuff. So my aunt, Sandy, my mom's sister, who I spent a lot of time in her house growing up, and we watched tons of movies. So she was the first person I ever watched the Evil Dead movie with. And this story is so funny because we were having chili and we were watching Evil Dead 2, and she would crochet Afghans. And anybody that knows what an Afghan looks like knows you can't cover your face with an Afghan and be able to block what's on a television screen. So here we were eating the chili and stuff started, goop starts flying around everywhere. And she starts trying to cover her face with the Afghan. And I remember laughing so much at that. But we had such a good time with that movie. And so when I eventually watched the original one, I was like, wow, this is so much darker than
Right.
Evil Dead 2. And I don't know how many people watched them out of order like that. But that was my experience with it.
Cool. What about you, Garrett?
I'm trying to rack my brain on where I discovered Evil Dead. It had to have been probably from my uncle in high school. It just had to have been. I remember getting the VHS tape of the first one. We talked about this earlier. I messaged you. It was like a brown VHS tape. It was from Anchor Bay. It had like a girl's face on. I think the body. It was like taking the head off or whatever. And that's the one that I had. So I'm not sure what year that came out. It could give me a better idea of when it was that I owned that thing. But that was my first taste of Evil Dead was part 1. And I absolutely loved it. And I was really getting into a lot of horror stuff then. And I remember my brother's friend. I was like showing everybody like, oh, you got to check out this movie, Evil Dead. It's awesome. Blah, blah. And my buddy's friend borrowed it. Can I borrow it? I'll be sure her. And then whatever reason, his mother like saw him watching it and like freaked out. So she like took the tape and like destroyed the tape. And then he had to tell her it was mine. So then she felt bad and like bought me another one. But when he gave it to me, it was actually the Evil Dead 2 with the skull on the cover was the one she bought me. So then that was the first time I ever saw Evil Dead 2 was because she bought me that one instead of the one that she wrecked, thinking it was the same exact movie. And it was weird watching them both back to back because they were so similar, but then so different at the same time. Similar story, but very different. And I think Evil Dead 2 is just the one that really got me fired up about it because you started adding the comedy. It started to get a little bit less dark and a little bit more, I'm not going to say funny, but like just kind of balls to the walls. And I really just started to dig this franchise a lot. And it wasn't for a long time that I realized that Army of Darkness was the sequel to this part 1 and 2. I remember seeing that Army of Darkness ad in my wrestling magazines back in like 93 or whatever it was. I don't know what year it would have been. 91, 93.
I think it was like 92 was when it came out.
Yeah, so I remember it was always in those wrestling magazines, and I always used to think to myself, what is this thing? Like, is it a show? It's a weird, the concept art was just so strange to me. And then later down the road, when I realized, wow, this is the third one of this franchise, of this trilogy, it just kind of blew my mind because I remember seeing the ad for Evil Dead, I think even before I ever saw the original Evil Dead. So definitely a big history with this movie.
I think my history with it's a little bit closer to what Dana experienced. The video stores here in Eastern Kentucky, the first one that I saw was part 2. In fact, I don't remember ever seeing the VHS for the first Evil Dead movie, like some of the early ones, which we're going to be talking about here in a second. It wasn't until Anchor Bay released the ones like Garrett was talking about in like the late 90s that I had seen Evil Dead. I thought it was like, and we'd mentioned this before recently, like, do you remember Leonard Part 6, the Bill Cosby movie that didn't have any other, there was no other Leonard movies at all. I would just assumed like, since Evil Dead 2 was kind of a comedy, that there was no Evil Dead 1 for many years because this was before the internet. Mm-hmm. I didn't know. And, but yeah, I mean, I kind of like that artwork, the skull with the eyes and everything, that was a staple in video stores in the late 80s, early 90s. It was everywhere, that tape was. So, but that was the first one that I saw. And then, years later, checked out the original. Like Dana said, it's a very different movie. I don't think the Ash character really came into, what we know him as today until part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then of course it went completely over the top with Army of Darkness, which we're going to talk about all these movies, guys. And, but yeah, I mean, I guess we're doing this too. We need to mention in conjunction with this weekend, the new Evil Dead movie comes out, which Garrett is actually already seen. So we might talk a little bit about that towards the end, spoiler free stuff.
Of course.
And you've got a full review up on, you did with,
Justin
movie Watch Daily. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can check that out too. Spoiler free, of course. But let's get into it, guys. We're going to go all the way back. This movie, Dana can maybe give us more detail on the movie itself. Like, it was shot in like what, the late 70s? Is that right? 79, 80, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it didn't come out until like 81. And then someone mentioned up front now, I think it was Austin, that Evil Dead came out simultaneously on video and in theaters. That's really odd if that's the case at that time frame, because you're talking about really early on in the VHS, before the VHS boom, really, 1981, 1982.
I think what really got people interested in the first Evil Dead was the fact that this was back when the UK there was all this furor over video nasties and stuff like that. So I think what made the people in the States want to watch this movie was all of that furor in the UK. Oh, this movie's awful. Don't watch it. If you tell people don't watch it, it's awful. Guess what? It's going to have the opposite effect that you want it to have if you don't like something. Everybody's going to want to go watch it. And there was actually, and I think you can find this on YouTube. Sam Raimi, at one point in time after The Evil Dead was released, he felt that he needed to go to the UK, and he was on some kind of talk show that they had over there. And he was actually up there having to defend his movie to these people that were really, they were really giving him down the road about it, that it was, they were saying really awful things about it, like it was showing the murder of children and animals or something like that. That's how they were treating it. And I thought Sam Raimi conducted himself very well, and he didn't get angry with them. He simply defended his movie the best he could. And I would recommend looking up to see if you can find that talk show on YouTube, because it was on there at one time.
Well, somebody's mentioning, I guess I've got it over here, Within the Woods, the short film that they did. It was it was used to maybe find financing for the feature film. Was that the reason behind it? And a lot of the same people were in the short film. We've got a very interesting story a little bit later on about Within the Woods, which still to this day has never received an official release, but it come close. It come really close. So close, in fact, that part of it is kind of on a release. And a lot of people don't know it, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I've got that release over here somewhere. Right here it is. The one that was sold on eBay for years and years and years. It's very, I think it's on YouTube, isn't it, Dana?
I believe so, yes.
It's off. The quality is terrible, and there's never been anything any better. Yeah. It's very hard to even watch, really. But it's essentially a shortened version of the first Evil Dead movie.
But what's weird about that is, in Within the Woods, Bruce Campbell and Ellen Samwise are boyfriend and girlfriend. And that, by the time the Evil Dead came around, they were brother and sister. So it's kind of weird to think about that, how that dynamic was switched around.
Have you seen Within the Woods, Garrett?
I probably had a long time ago, but I don't really recall it at all. I was so into this movie. I knew about Into the Woods, so I may have stumbled across it. I'm not sure exactly. We'll talk about it, but what edition this would be on, and I'm curious if I knew that
Oh,
it was
we're going
only
to
on.
talk about it. We got to wait though. It's going to be a few
Yeah.
years down the line. So as far as the VHS releases go, and this kind of makes sense. I mean, I couldn't find the exact release dates on. There's two different ones. It's Thorn EMI and HBO VHS. I think it's the same company, but there's two different versions of those out. As far as I could tell, that was the first home video release, one of those two in the 80s. I couldn't find an actual release date though. So Austin mentioned that it may have been simultaneously with, unless it was an independent release, possibly. Maybe Austin knows, but all the information I could find out, those were the first national releases of the Evil Dead. And I looked at the cover's very striking. I would have remembered it. I never saw it back in the day.
Now, Dana, do you have that or no?
I do not. The VHS that I did have that I unfortunately could not locate were newer versions. So I wish that I could say I had those original ones, and who knows, maybe I'll be able to find them and it won't cost an arm and a leg. I think that's probably why I don't have those.
Yeah. It's even to this day, those are very collectible for whatever reason. And you know, I mean, a lot of things have kind of went down in price, but VHSs they went down and then they just skyrocketed.
Mm-hmm.
So even stuff that's out like mainstream releases and everything. But the interesting thing is, and we'll get into, since none of us have these releases, the next one, and Austin did confirm, I think Thorn EMI was or someone mentioned it, Twisted Trucker was the first. So this was the early 80s, maybe mid 80s. The next one was from a company called Congress Video in 1989. So it took many years for the follow-up release. And Congress Video, I've never heard of that at all. And that VHS goes for big bucks, $150. I think there's a couple of them for like $150 on eBay right now. So there must be very few of those that were made. And that may be why growing up, Dana, me and you couldn't find these movies in a video store.
That was more than likely the case.
And I thought I had the image of this ready, but unfortunately not. But if you go on eBay right now, you can check that one out. It's on there for like $150, $160, something like that. I can't imagine paying that much for a VHS tape today. A little bit out of my price range. But continuing on, and this is the real kicker. We're going through all of Evil Dead 1, by the way. That's kind of how we're doing it. And then we'll go on to the sequels. There wasn't another VHS release until the Anchor Bay VHSs in the late 90s, 1998. And I think that was one that Garrett was talking about. That was one of those releases. The one that's right beside of Dana down there, that's the one that I bought. That cover right there. I think Anchor Bay did probably 4 or 5 different covers.
Yeah.
And they went along with the DVD releases. I think they were the same time. I'm not really sure. They did like 4 or 5. Do you remember this, Dana, in the those little jewel cases?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would break really easily, kind of like a big CD case. I've got one of those here. But not a lot of VHS releases really for the Evil Dead, considering, the amount of time there, like 17 years, in between the first and the last
So it was really only Anchor Bay that was really pumping these things out once they got their hands on it, right? Before that, you weren't really getting much VHS for Evil Dead. Is that correct?
Right. I mean, Anchor Bay had a freaking ton of different ones.
Yeah.
Like there's a limited edition one that was in clamshell that I think that one was in widescreen. And like, I don't know how many different covers they did, like 5 or 6, with different artwork. So
now, was it Anchor Bay that put out that Evil Dead 2 with the skull, or was that a different company that put that one out?
That was Anchor Bay. Yeah, I think so. And that Evil Dead 2, which we'll get to it here in a little bit. I think there's a big reason a lot of people saw it way before the first one, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But so continue on. There's a laser disc for Evil Dead. Did you ever get the laser disc, Dana?
I don't have the laser disc for the original Evil Dead, but Evil Dead 2, I have that one.
Ooh, we'll get to that one. So the Elite Entertainment did the laser disc 1999. They also did the first DVD of Evil Dead. And then after that, it was all Anchor Bay, I believe, for a while. That's when we come into the jewel case releases on DVD. It says there were 5 different ones, all released at the same time. Anchor Bay did crazy shit back in those days. Like, I've got the movie Stuntman from 1980 on a limited edition. Now, this is limited edition, 100,000 copies.
It's that big thick case, the red, right?
Yeah. Is there any company nowadays that would release, even like Disney or somebody like that? I don't think so. I don't even know if they would make that many today.
And it's wild because they did hype it up like it was so limited. They had like the numbers written on the back and all this other stuff too. So they were really ahead of the game with a lot of things. And even like the jewel case situation, like think about how early into Anchor Bay DVDs that was. And if you did it now, that's like when these companies will do like, exclusive slips, this. I mean, I'm sure there was collectors back then, and there would be now if a company came out with like Evil Dead 5 different versions with like different covers and stuff, people would buy all 5. And even now as a collector, I would love to have all 5 of those original jewel case with the different artwork like displayed up. And
they're very rare to find, man. They are.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but this is the only one that I've got, and it's broke. Look, like it's cracked and everything. And for anybody asking, like, this is how it came. There was nothing. Right. There was not really a cover. The disc itself was the cover. And man, people were talking about Anchor Bay. We need to do another Anchor Bay show. I don't know what it would be exactly, but I could talk about Anchor Bay all day because I think that company rejuvenated my interest in the genre quite a bit.
Oh, they were just really thinking outside the box with a lot of the different releases. And we'll get into way more of them with this franchise as we go, because there's a lot of different versions over here that they did special things for. And it was just what they were doing. And as stupid as it is, like I said, that jewel case was brilliant. As dumb as it was, and people are probably like, why? If a company would do that now, they'd be looked at like, they just struck gold, because people would buy every edition to get those different covers, because things like artwork and stuff mean so much now again. So it's just
I hated those covers too back in the day, but I kind of like them. I don't know why.
I agree. I must have passed on those 100 times at like used stores throughout the years, because I'm like, I don't want, this is dumb. But now looking back on it, I'm like, oh man, how cool would it be to have all 5 of the different ones? Like, it would be really rad. So
if you take the disc out, it's the same artwork there. So they basically put the cover on the inside, kind of, which is weird, but Anchor Bay was doing all kinds of weird shit back then. But yeah, like 5, I think it said 5 different ones on this. And man, that's only the beginning. We're just started even with part 1. Oh God, I broke it.
It's in more pieces now. 2 cracks.
It really is. It fell. We have over 100 people in here though, so definitely appreciate you guys checking this out. We're just getting started. Hey, I'm not even halfway through on the on just Evil Dead 1. And then we're on to Evil Dead 2. And Army of Darkness is going to be an hour just for all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So the jewel cases and everything, 1999. And that brings us to what I think will be, did we induct it in the physical media, the Horror Physical Media Hall of Fame? I don't remember, but it's going to be if not. And that is from 2002. 21 years ago, man. How is it 21 years?
I don't know, man. It's wild to think about that. It really is.
This thing still holds up. And you guys got yours?
Yep.
I do. It's behind me over there on the shelf because I touched it and it's like
it's beautiful.
It's on its last leg, man, over there. Mine's on its last leg. It's been doing well for a long time, but as soon as I grabbed it, it started like the material was getting hard, so I was afraid to take it off the shelf.
Mine is still soft, but there's little cracks in it. We got a surprise. Go ahead.
Mine's actually signed
by
Teresa Tilley and let's see, Betsy Baker and Ellen Samwise. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Got all three of them to sign that for me.
Surprise, surprise. There's a stunt man. What's going on?
What's up, everybody?
What's up, man?
Not too much. You got here just in time because we're talking about the first Book of the Dead edition.
Nice.
Look at that. Look at that sealed version. That's sweet, man.
Well,
yeah,
really
mine's not sealed.
But it's in the box. So, and I'm
freaking
it out.
There's no front to that. It's just open like that.
I think that's how it came, wasn't it?
I must have. I forget.
So, yeah.
That's wild to think about how much. But I know a lot of people that those things are completely destroyed at this point. Like they've basically blown up. Does anybody's eyeball still work or their mouth or whatever it was on that one?
I think it's the second one. Mine doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't think mine screams anymore.
I tried mine. It doesn't.
Yeah, I think I got the one. Like I have the thing where it's like both of them.
Ooh,
oh, that
look
is
at that.
Cool.
Yeah. So
that's sick.
Yeah, they're still in pretty good condition. But to jump back just for a second, Wes, like when I clicked on the video, I saw that you were talking about the jewel case, and I managed to find mine before I jumped on. I have this one.
Ooh.
Okay, so that's 2 of 5, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's still a cool thing to collect. Yeah,
yeah. I'm gonna do some searches on that.
I mean, you could like maybe put them all together and frame them or something. That would be a cool.
Oh yeah, that'd be
very
cool.
Cool.
You know. Yeah. How about Laserdisc, Mark? Did you ever get into Laserdiscs or anything?
I have quite a few actually, but I don't have any Evil Dead, honestly. Yeah, I was checking and I thought I had it actually for a minute, but I'm like, wait a minute, no, I guess I don't. So
I had one of them, but I think Dana's going to show it here in a minute. I think I saw that was. I've sold all kinds of stuff. I sold off probably 95% of my Laserdiscs, but that's one that I don't have anymore, unfortunately. But there was also in 2002, continuing on here since we're already like 40 minutes in and we're still on Evil Dead 1. There was a standard release that had kind of a green Evil Dead with the woman's arm coming up and everything. Not the Blu-ray. There was a DVD version. And I think it was the same disc as the Book of the Dead, but it was just in standard packaging. Do either of you guys have that?
It was the Book of the Dead in a standard pack?
Yeah.
No.
I don't believe so.
No.
So I never did get that either. That one's crazy cheap though. If somebody just wanted to get it to be a completist, it's like $4 shipped, $5 shipped.
So does it basically just look like it, but it's a case?
It doesn't look like Book of the Dead at all. It just says it's just like a generic DVD cover of Evil Dead.
It's not this, is it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah, I have it.
Nice.
There you go.
I was just looking. I was like, oh, something that says 2002. I was like, maybe they're talking about this.
Open the case up to make sure. I think it's the same one, though. I'm pretty sure it is.
It's got I don't remember what it looks like, but it's this one.
Yeah, that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Oh. Yep, still got this bad boy.
So there was There was another one. This one I didn't even know about. And that's the fun thing about doing these shows. There were many different versions of this same release, 2002. And I don't know if Dana knows about this one or not, but this sold recently for $90 on eBay. And I've got a picture ready for it, boys. I'm ready for this one. This was a Blockbuster exclusive rental version of Evil Dead. And it's evidently worth at least $90. Check this one out.
Wow.
I don't have that one.
But I mean, everything evidently is the exact same.
Yeah, same back.
Features and everything. But yeah, it just has a different cover.
It's cool though.
Yeah, if somebody sees that one in a Goodwill, you may want to pick it up. I mean, if I was to find it, I would keep it, but some people would probably want to sell it. Yeah, that's stuff like that is crazy cool, man. Especially if you're an Anchor Bay collector as well. Even though it's the same thing, it's just an exclusive cover there. I thought it was kind of cool.
That is cool.
So this was 2002. Was there anything in between those and the Evil Dead Ultimate Edition, which was the big box one that they did in like 2007?
That is the only one I have left for Evil Dead on DVD. So as far as if there's anything in between, I don't recall.
I think Uncle Bill had that. That was one that he showed like when we were doing a stream last go around. But unfortunately, his dial-up internet won't let him on here. So I never did own that one though.
What, the Ultimate? This bad boy?
There you go.
This is like still probably my favorite Evil Dead edition.
I agree.
Of all time.
It's
amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's been a while since I've looked at it, but it almost is like look at this. It's got that picture in there, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm wondering if I start unfolding this thing, are they going to have all the different images from those original 5? Oh wow, yeah. Look at all this. So this is sick.
Yep.
So you got that's that VHS cover that I had. Then you got this one.
It is that's all the different. Well, that's 3 of them.
Dude, it's been a long time since I've opened this thing. So it's got 3 discs. Now watch this when I take these discs out. It's got more artwork of the old jewel case ones that we were talking about. I had no idea. So check this out.
Yep.
How sick is that?
It's awesome.
So it must have been 6 different covers.
Look at that image right there with the legs and the guys. I don't even think I've ever seen that image in my life. That is sick.
I think Wes made me a logo. What didn't you make me an Evil Dead chick logo with that image?
Yeah, that's part of like some of the original like promo photos that they took for I think it was for the VHS maybe. Those are old pictures. I mean, you could tell by Bruce Campbell, like he was really young in that one photo. I think it's just artwork, photos that they'd taken on different sets or something for the VHS.
What a fantastic edition poster.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't dug into this in forever. You got that
that's
one.
Cool. I like
that. Then you get the Ladies of Evil Dead book. And what a cool edition.
And the disc art for disc 2 and 3 are amazing too. I mean, it's really cool stuff.
Yeah, man.
One thing that I almost forgot, and I'm glad that we can go back a little bit here. Within the Woods, this is something that was even marketed on one of the ads for the Book of the Dead version. I'll show you guys right here. So you can see right down there in the corner, new Within the Woods original Evil Dead short film. It was supposed to be on that Book of the Dead edition from 2002. And it kind of was. So the deal was there was some sort of music rights issue or something. Felcher told the whole story one time on our show, and they had to remove it so quickly that certain files from Within the Woods stayed on the disc. So if you open the disc up on like your DVD ROM, the menu, which I've got a copy of it right here, is still on the disc, which I think is pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
So it tells the history Within the Woods and everything. So yeah, and it talks about legal reasons they fixed the music, and I'm not sure if Sam Raimi just didn't want it out. Maybe that's what it was, but it was originally on that first Book of the Dead.
I think I heard that he didn't think it was good enough quality to put on that release.
Yeah, I mean that's one that a lot of people may not realize, unless you're hardcore into the Evil Dead, that was originally marketed. I can remember when Anchor Bay was like pumping it, everybody was excited this was finally coming out and everything. And I'm curious though, Felcher worked at Anchor Bay. Some of these people have to have that file of the source material of Within the Woods or something. Like,
I'm sure they do.
How did that not get out?
It probably would nowadays.
I heard a story that Scott Spiegel, which is one of their buddies, he had the original like VHS tape of it, and for whatever reason he lent it out to somebody and they never gave it back to him. So who knows who has that original VHS copy of Within the Woods.
But whatever they were going to do for Anchor Bay, you would have thought for sure. I mean, I wonder what happened with that. I mean, maybe we can ask the Slipster of Style and he might, give us some sort of info on that. But it's just weird that whoever had it didn't accidentally upload it or something, the way people do.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Horror says the Ultimate Edition is his favorite Evil Dead DVD release. Don't you think? You guys think like the Digipack stuff? They don't do that anymore, man. That's almost like when's the last one of those that even came out? I can't even remember. I know Second Sight still kind of does them for some of their limited editions, but as far as US mainstream stuff, like that used to be the norm for a while.
Yeah, like that Texas Chainsaw Second Sight kind of, once you get it out of that box, it's got the fold outs kind of like this one did. But speaking of that, did you get yours yet from did you order from Second Sight and you've been waiting for it?
No, I ordered it when Orbit got their second shipment in. So I actually just got it today. Well,
you know how you said that they're out of print, right? Is that the thing where they're going for big money already?
I think so. Yeah. Second Sight they got like a second shipment in, but those limited editions normally don't last very long. I don't know how many they make. Did they say how many they made of that?
They didn't, but so Mel just got hers in from Second Sight, and it came with like an extra 3 or 4 cards that were exclusive if you ordered it from their site. So that was kind of cool. And I'm like, I had no idea that if you ordered it from their site, you'd get like an exclusive deal, which again is only going to bring that thing up for more value now that it was like a small amount were pre-ordered through their site, got like extra batch of cards that go in there.
I love about Second Sight, because if Scream Factory did it, they'd try to charge you $40 or something for extra cards.
Yeah, no, they just sent them in, and she messaged me and she said, "Did yours come with cards like separated from the box?" I'm like, "No." And then I'm like, "Look at those cards." I'm looking at the cards, and I'm like, "I don't think those were even the ones that were in my set." So she said, "Hold on," and then I checked my set. She checked hers. She goes, "No, I have all the ones that you have. Plus, it came with these extra ones." And I guess doing more research, it was for pre-orders only from Second Sight, got those extra cards to go in the set.
I didn't even think Second Sight shipped stuff over here.
Well, that's why I didn't order from them, because I didn't think they did either anymore. So yeah,
maybe it was just Martin they couldn't ship over to the US due to Dick Rubenstein, of course, probably. But continuing on with some Evil Dead, I think that's the end of the DVDs. We may have missed some of the, did they ever do a steelbook for the DVD? I don't think so.
They definitely did a steelbook for Evil Dead. I can remember the blue steelbook, but I don't know if that was a Blu-ray or a DVD, but I do remember a blue.
Oh, there's a few steelbook Blu-rays, but I just didn't know if there was a DVD version, but
that I recall.
There was a Blu-ray. The first Blu-ray release for Evil Dead, I think, was the one with another one with a green logo that Anchor Bay. It was, I guess, shortly before they went under. Release is like a 2-disc version. I think there was one that was exclusive from Best Buy, and then there was a 1-disc version of that as well.
I think
You
that's the
guys
one that
have
you
that?
have. Is that the one Dana had earlier that I was asking her about?
Yeah, with the green bar on it. You got it there, Dana? There you
Yeah,
go.
that one.
This
I
Yeah.
remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, evidently the year on that one was like 2010 for the Blu-ray. Anchor Bay, man, they put out some Blu-rays early on. I think they did some Masters of Horror and they did Dawn of the Dead and stuff like that. They may have done Day of the Dead, like 2008, 2009. So it's pretty early on in the game. They were doing some Blu-rays. So it's kind of odd that Evil Dead took, until 2010. But yeah, I remember that one being cool. What was on the extra disc though, Dana? Does it say the second disc?
Let's see. Well, it's got One by One We Will Take You, The Untold Saga, The Evil Dead, Treasures from the Cutting Room Floor, Discovering the Evil Dead, Unconventional, At the Drive-In. There's a reunion panel.
Is
makeup
Unconventional
disc.
the documentary, the Tom Sullivan documentary?
No, I believe this is a Bruce Campbell thing, if I'm remembering right,
Oh, okay.
where he basically went around and filmed things going on at conventions.
What was the Tom Sullivan one coming from San? What was the name of that?
That's invaluable.
Oh, okay.
Steve got me that on DVD a while back.
I got you. Well, there's a Blu-ray coming out soon, so you have to pick that up.
Yeah,
And evidently,
I need to get that.
there's a big announcement coming. They've already said our buddies over at the Spooky Dookie picture show are going to be making an announcement about a Synapse release coming up that I think it's going to be pretty big. That's all I don't know exactly what it is, but they're hyping it up like a son of a bitch. So Synapse, it's probably going to be their big release of the year. So we'll see, but they're making that announcement, I think, this weekend sometime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So after the 2-disc Blu-ray, the Star Wars Anchor Bay one, they did the steelbook of, I think it was the exact same thing a few years after that, 2016. They also did no, this was later on. So they had a 4K, which we all probably have the 4K, right?
Yeah.
Look at her. Look at that.
I have a steelbook of the Blu-ray version.
Oh,
too.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same artwork pretty much. And they did this was the same year, 2018, a Best Buy exclusive 4K Blu-ray steelbook of 1 and 2. It's 4 discs total. There you go. Yeah, I never did get that. I remember it though.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got everything in one package. I love the artwork on that.
Yeah.
So the steelbook that I have actually was from Sony Pictures, and not sure if you guys have seen this one before.
Ooh, no, but I like that artwork.
Yeah.
And then
I
the
like
artwork
it
on the
too.
back is amazing too.
That's a new one, man.
That's
I don't-
that's from that VHS tape that I had there. That artwork on the back. So who put that out? Sony,
Yeah, this is Sony,
and it's a
then the
U.S.
inside-
release.
It's region free.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, honestly. I can't even remember where I got this, honestly. But if you guys can see,
I'm
So
sure
the inside's
somebody in
got
the
some cool
chat
art.
knows. Yeah, I would think I don't know. That's kind of odd that Sony here in the US would release it. Maybe overseas.
yeah,
But I don't
actually,
know.
yeah, it's got the. I'm looking at the disc right now. It's got the rating, the UK rating
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
There you go. And I guess the last new release was out a couple of years ago, Did you guys get the big? I think Dana may have it. The Groovy Collection, the 4K set of 1 and 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
I didn't get it, but I like it. It's a real nice addition. Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's got some. Let me just try to slide this open here.
You know what you guys are
Wow.
gonna do? You're gonna make me order this damn thing, aren't you?
Yeah.
It happens all the time. We do these shows. I got that damn truck or whatever from Texas Chainsaw. Now I want this thing after I ignored it for this whole time.
Captain Horror, man, he's telling you. Buy now or cry later.
Damn it.
Soon it won't be available to get, Garrett. While it's still available.
I mean, the thing that sucks is it's like everything that's in there is in here, and I already have the whole series of the show. So there's nothing in there I don't have except for that.
I know, but
artwork.
look at
I
that,
know.
Garrett.
I was the same way, man. Like I didn't want to get it, but I'm like, I'm gonna regret this later. Let me just get it now. And it's not that expensive. So
was that in stores or did you guys order that?
I got mine from Amazon.
Yeah, same here, Amazon.
Okay.
And Steve was kind of upset with me for ordering it. He was like, "Why did you have to order that? You've got all these other versions that's got the same stuff." I'm like, "But Steve, this is the Groovy Collection. You gotta have it."
It's $70 right now. It's $70 right now.
That is kind of pricey, especially
not for all the stuff you're getting though, right? I mean, maybe if you have it already, but
it's pricey for like, hey, I have everything already. I'm just gonna buy it because it's a cool box. But if it was like, hey, I don't own this, that's a steal for all the stuff you get in there. Yeah. I mean, they could have charged that for just Evil Dead the show, if they wanted to.
Do you guys remember? And this just popped into my head. I think this was Anchor Bay. Didn't they talk about doing like a cabin box set at one time? Do you guys remember this?
I don't.
Oh yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, I'll have to remember to ask Felcher about that. I think that one I don't know if they officially announced it, but it was rumored for a while. It was a replica of the cabin.
That would have been sick.
Yeah.
So we're finally almost an hour in, getting into Evil Dead 2. And there's actually not as many for Evil Dead 2 that I could find, at least. But we were talking about earlier how Evil Dead 2, and I don't know if it was this way for you, Mark, like it was a lot easier to find than Evil Dead 1 back in the day at the video store. Yeah. I didn't even know Evil Dead 1 was I thought it was like a rib or something, that there was only one Evil Dead movie and it was Evil Dead 2. But
same here. I saw the second one first and I loved it. And I was like, what an ending, but like, what happens? Then later on, I find out like there's Army of Darkness. I'm like, what is this? And, in the beginning, you find out that it is the sequel to Evil Dead 2. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, so yeah, I saw them all out of order, but, man, just what a fun time to like discover those.
Well, the funny thing is with the Evil Dead movies is every one of them has like a prologue type thing or whatever, where it kind of tells you what happens anyway.
Yeah.
So you're not lost. But the first home video releases for Evil Dead 2 was VHS and Laserdisc in 1987. But the company, and that's why everybody saw it, was Vestron Video that released it back in the day. And that was pretty much, a lot of their titles were in every video store going.
Oh, yeah.
And that explains why we all saw Evil Dead 2 first in a video store, at least.
Agree. I wish I still had that VHS tape. That's one of the ones I sold, was the one with the skull on it that woman bought me. That destroyed my Evil Dead 1. I wish I still had it. Do you have that one still, Dana? Because they've reused that cover art a couple times and I just love it.
I want to say I do, but like I said, I could not locate any of my VHS tapes. I don't know where they are in this house. Maybe Steve found them and hid them from me. I don't know.
He put it in his collection.
I'm gonna blame it on him.
Like when he gets mad at you, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna hide your VHS tapes."
Yeah, you're the Evil Dead chick. I'm gonna hide all your evil.
Shut up! That never gets old.
I still have mine, but they're all in storage. Most of my VHS stuff is it's just in storage. So, yeah.
So I guess the next one that I could find after this one was the 10-year anniversary. It was the Elite Laserdisc, which I believe Dana has, and this one's very special because there's not too many. There
Woo!
you go.
Nice.
And
Pull the
this
disc out
this
there.
is cool too. It's red.
Blood red, baby.
Ooh.
That's nice.
I think that's the only one that I can recall that I ever had that was a different color. What about you, Dan? I mean, I don't know how big of a Laserdisc collection you had, but
I have a very small Laserdisc collection. It's just a select few, and I don't remember any of them being colored except for this one.
gotcha. So yeah, I actually had that Laserdisc at one point in time as well, and that's something else that I evidently sold. So that brings us to 98. There were the DVD, the original DVD and the VHS from Anchor Bay. And that was just the standard, kind of the VHS arts on both of those. Those initial releases. Anchor Bay was way ahead of the game, man. Like DVDs came out initially in 97. Pretty much immediately they started releasing genre stuff. Like the Dawn of the Dead release and the original Halloween release both was in 97. And then all the Evil Deads and stuff come shortly thereafter. So 98 is crazy early on for genre DVDs too. Do any of you guys have that? The first Anchor Bay VHS or DVD?
No.
No.
I had the DVD, but I got rid of it when I got the next thing I'm going to show.
So the next one that I could find was in the year 2000. It was another Anchor Bay re-release, and it included a limited edition 10. Oh, yeah.
I think we've all got that.
Where's yours, Wes? Look at this. 4 for 4. Let's hold them up. This is the screen. This is the screenshot right here, people.
But do we have all of the goodies inside? That's the real question.
We'll find out. Look at mine. Mine's signed by Bruce Campbell, though. See it?
Oh, look at
Oh, that's
that.
awesome.
Nice.
That is cool.
That is rad.
And when we did our Anchor Bay show, I showed this, and there's actually a picture of him signing it in here that I didn't realize was even I had kept. So
Wow, look at that.
Oh, cool.
That's a good thing about those 10s too, man. Like you can put random stuff like that in it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my Halloween 10, I think it was Halloween 4. I have the John Carpenter questions that we did for the interview back in the day stored in that 10.
Nice.
Wow.
that is
And
cool.
it's a good place to store your weed too. I mean, if you're a smoker. Oh, curly jaws, but but yeah, what about your goodies? What do you guys have in there?
I
Wow,
still
let's see.
have
Let's see.
I still have the Evil Dead Hail to the King.
Hell yeah, me too. Look at-
Advertisement. Yeah.
Yeah. Did anybody else? We all 4 of us got this piece.
Mine
No.
didn't have that.
Oh.
Mine didn't have that
Oh
either.
baby. How about this?
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
All right. Where? Let's see who's not complete here. I hope it's not me. I got this book,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got the book.
I got the book.
and
With
then I got
Groovy on the back.
Yeah.
and then just the jewel case. Right? Is that the last piece?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Sometimes if you buy these things used, all of a sudden it comes and it's like missing stuff or whatever. But that's good. We all got it.
If you don't have
Now-
very much weed, though, look, like there's a little compartment even behind the jewel case.
Okay. No. The
hell?
next game we can play is
Look at
Let's
this
see
shit,
what-
though. Hang on a second.
what you got?
Did it come like this?
Oh, you're gonna have a crap edition. What's the matter?
Like the back of it's verbatim. That's
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I
killer.
gotta go
I don't even
look.
know.
I
I
haven't
gotta
had
check.
this one out in a while.
I don't know. Let's see. They probably Wes is in like a
That's
random
awesome.
CD case that the guy like lost it.
Possibly, but
I don't know. Mine's just black.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Mine's blank.
Mine's black.
well, mine was replaced, evidently.
You got that bootleg. You're gonna make
But
some
there
people
was
mad.
there was a standard DVD, the same one that I actually had before, but it's another one that I sold.
All right, you know what would be other cool game we should do right now? Let's check and see what the numbers are. Does anybody have a low number on this thing?
Mine's
God, it's 50,000.
9,570.
Mine is 8,324.
Oh.
Ooh, I get a low number. What's yours, Stuntman?
Probably the highest out of everybody. 19,814.
Bro, mine's 291.
Holy shit, that is
Wow.
low.
Yeah,
Holy
that's pretty
cow.
low.
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anybody like all of them were numbered on the back. It was kind of like, I don't know. I guess it was the old school limited edition ways that I don't know. It's kind of got some charm to it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about these, they're hard to display, but at the same time, I don't know if Anchor Bay was trying to be like, oh, well, you remember the big box, the blue VHS? Let's try to create our own little thing with the tins. It was such a cool thing because there are if you're a big time collector, and I would like to have all the tins that they did. I think there might have only been maybe 10, maybe total tops, maybe not even 10.
Those are still valuable too, man.
Yeah,
Those aren't cheap. I have a couple of them sealed still, like Let Sleeping Corpses Lie and The Beyond. I have sealed.
Nice.
And
Now,
I think I've got the Halloween ones too.
Hold on, guys. I hear Steve.
Uh-oh.
hit the button.
Steve had a bad dream.
Hit the button. Tell Steve to shut up.
No, I don't want to hit the button, man. I want to hear if Steve is like yelling or something. I want to hear it.
Let's see. But anybody in the chat, if and I don't know this for a fact, but this edition, I have a friend of mine whose father was a big time collector, and my friend messaged me and he said, "Hey man, my dad is thinking about just tossing all of his collection, mostly DVDs and I think some Blu-rays, but no VHS. He has a big Laserdisc collection. He's not getting rid of that." And he goes, "He told me to chuck it. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll take it." And there's 6 or 7 totes full of stuff that he's going to deliver to my house. I haven't looked in it, but for some reason, I do feel like this dude might have this. So if this is something
that's a fucking live stream, man.
Opening that thing,
Definitely.
you know what I know he does have? He has that wooden Wicker Man set. I know that much because I can remember.
I never did have that. I would like to get that one.
I might have
mine.
I still have mine, so I might have an extra one.
Whoa.
I'll have to see what this guy's got, but yeah, maybe I'll do a stream and open up the stuff on it. But then he's gonna want it back once I hype it all up.
Yeah, Hall of Mania live.
Yeah.
Everything okay, Dana?
Yeah, Brandon was just getting up and pacing around and running into things. He can't see good, can't hear. Poor little guy.
He's got his own shirt though. It's on shop.deadpit.com.
Yes, he does.
He's sort of a big deal. So continuing on though, they did, I think I mentioned the standard version of this. It was in a standard DVD case. And that was actually the first one that I had before I got the 10. So the next one up is another pretty big one. The Book of the Dead for Evil Dead 2. So everybody was... Yours is back there.
Yeah, I have it right over my shoulder. I was afraid to grab it because I didn't want it to bust.
Yeah, I got mine. This one's in pristine condition, other than the fact that the screen doesn't work on it.
That's cool that you guys have those still in those little boxes. I don't have those boxes.
Let me see if mine still works. Actually, I'm gonna take it out.
Hold it up to the microphone just in case we can hear that.
Oh, somebody's just worked. Whose was that?
Wait. Okay. So they're still in good condition. But which one screams? Is it this one?
I think that's that
one.
This one?
The eyeball, that white eyeball.
Let's see. No.
We got to think this was 2005. So what battery is going to last that long?
That's true.
But all these Book of the Dead ones were kind of designed the same way. Tom Sullivan designed all these and did the artwork for them and everything. And what I was going to mention too about the Book of the Dead is, and what's funny, what were these, like $40 new back then? $40.
So, yeah.
Trick or Treat Studios does just replicas of the book now.
Oh, that's
We're
cool.
talking like $120,
Wow.
right? And then essentially, I think it may be a little bit bigger. I don't know. There may be a little bit more detail, but come on, $120 versus just go on eBay and get you one of these.
And that's got a really nice, like the pages are all filled out on that too. It's not like they cheaped it out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing anybody in the chat though if your eyeball screams on Book of the Dead too. But yeah, that was 2005, and Mark actually has the combo version, which came out the same year. I think you were holding it up earlier.
Yep.
Which how much was that one new? Do you recall? Was it like $80, I guess?
I remember it being really cheap, honestly. I can't be sure exactly how much, but I know it wasn't $80.
So essentially it's just like it's this, but it's got both of the books in a bigger.
What's nice about his too is it's got a front, so like they're not going to deteriorate out in the air, right? Like you can kind of seal it up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Because a lot of those things are breaking on a lot of people. Mine are kind of on their last leg, I think.
It's like the anthology set too. I don't know if you guys have that one. It came out a lot later. I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but
I have that one.
yeah. So
yeah, I don't even really remember. I think that was like overseas or something, though, right? Or was that a
Australia?
Yeah, we'll talk about that one here in a little bit
sick.
because
that is sick though.
Yeah, all of them were in one edition, so that's pretty neat. Next one up was Lionsgate Blu-ray 25th Anniversary Edition from 2011. And that's the last one of Evil Dead 2 that I actually have on physical media. I think I've got it right here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And this one was pretty much everywhere.
I have that one too.
I remember Walmart carrying this. Is probably where I got it. Mm-hmm. It's loaded with special features too. I remember it was pretty packed. And it looks great still. Mm-hmm. But let's see, are we up to the 4K yet? The next one is the 4K 2018.
I have this one too.
Oh yeah, that is right. I forgot about that one. I knew there's a couple that I had to be missing with Evil Dead 2. What year was that one, Dana?
This looks like 2007. Yeah, 2007.
Wow. So
that's pretty early.
Blu-ray even come out? Was it 2000? It may have been 2007.
2007, 2008.
Wow. Okay. So that may have been the first Blu-ray that Anchor Bay did.
Yeah, had to be.
I don't know if I ever had. I don't think I ever had that one.
I'm not sure if I did either.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I did have on Vudu, I had the 4K of Evil Dead 2, and I watched it that way recently. The transfer on that thing is freaking insane. Evil Dead 2. I couldn't believe it, actually, like how good that movie looked in 4K. I was kind of taken back by it. But I'm sure the 4K disc itself looks even better.
Yeah, well, this is the image if anybody has it. That's the 4K case, but this is inside that big tin I have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the standalone, that's the image on the 4K.
Yeah, I've got the standalone too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the very early 4Ks as well. So it was like 2018. So this was right when 4K was like getting kind of out there. I know that Lionsgate did the first Halloween 4K as well, same year. Mm-hmm. And there was another one that was bizarre that I didn't remember. And Steelbook Blu-ray DVD combo in 2019 from Lionsgate. You guys have that one for part 2?
Is it this thing?
No, it's just a standalone for part 2, I think.
Oh, just the steelbook of it?
And it's a Blu-ray. Yeah.
No.
Oh, no.
I don't think so.
No.
I think it may be the same artwork on the 4K, but it's just a Blu-ray. Okay. So I think we're good with part 2. So we're doing pretty good on time now, boys. We sped right through part 2. But if you want to talk about part 2 as a movie real quick, I like the movie. I mean, it's some people's favorite movie, but for me, when I saw the first movie, I was like, that's by far the best movie. I saw this one first, so I technically probably have more nostalgia for this one. But part one is more along the lines of something that I like in a movie. Whereas this one, it's fun and everything, but it's a little bit, it's a little bit too goofy in certain aspects. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the first one, I really fell in love with the first one.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I'm supposed to do this week, probably Friday. I'm going to drop a ranking for the franchise, and I should have already done it. But I want to rewatch 1 and 2 again. It's been a couple of years since I've seen them. I've seen them 100 times, but I just want to make sure because for me, it's like they're so close and for different ways. Like the first one is the one that got me in love with the franchise, but the second one is the one that just really put me over the top for it. And I'm just curious, as I've gotten older, if I appreciate the first one more or if that second one is still like the jam. But it's definitely one of those two. I just don't know where I would rank those two.
There's a certain charm and vibe to the first one, though.
Yeah.
That there's not too many movies that can do that. Like, and it's amazing, like how that movie was actually even made. Like, have there ever been like a feature-length, in-depth documentary about the making of that movie? I'm sure there's been documentaries, but like, you know, on a big level, like a 2-hour documentary making of. I would love to hear about it.
There's one on this Sony Pictures release, but I'm not sure how long it is.
So, 110 people watching this right now, by the way. So everybody thumbs up the video, go subscribe to everybody's channel. You got, yeah, you can hear Sam in there. He's wanting you to subscribe, or Brandon. I don't know which one that is.
That you're probably hearing Sammy outside. He's barking.
He's like, let me in. God damn it, it's cold. So continuing on, though, I mean, Stuntman Mark on YouTube, Evil Dead Chick on YouTube, BornToBeRad.com, Dead Pit here on YouTube. Go subscribe to everybody because we're all putting out stuff. So we're going on to probably I think this one has the most releases by far. Even so, I'm guaranteeing that I'm missing a few on this big freaking list here, but that's Army of Darkness, which is one of the craziest fucking movies that was ever shown in a movie theater. I think just nuts, like what the fuck is this? And I remember that's what I was saying the entire time when I was watching it, but I was loving it as well. And we'll talk about Army of Darkness a little bit here too, but let's get into some of these early releases because I don't know if any of us have these. There was MCA Universal VHS release along with a laser disc in 1993 from Universal.
Got nothing.
No laser discs. Then from there, it starts with Anchor Bay, and it really doesn't let up. No, I think Universal actually had a 1998 DVD. Did anybody pick that one up?
No.
I believe so.
You won't let that dog in, Dane. He's making noise.
Yeah, he's disturbing everybody. He needs to come in anyway, and he needs to go back in the living room.
Bow, wow, wow, yippee, yo, yippee,
I'm surprised Steve isn't flipping his lid right now trying to sleep.
This is Steve right in the bedroom.
Shut up!
That dog's like, motherfucker, let me in. Freezing my balls off out here, boss.
Jim secretly hates dogs. This damn dog out of here.
Oh, for anybody that doesn't know, Dana and Steve have about 17 dogs, and then like birds and rats and
Rats.
I'm not kidding. They do birds, rats, lizards, snakes,
Mice,
mice,
termites,
Steve has gerbils that die quite frequently, and he has to get more of them.
roaches.
You don't want to know what he does with the gerbils.
Oh God.
Actually, I don't have any rats anymore. All my rats passed away.
Oh, I thought you still had rats, Dana.
No, I got guinea pigs, but no more rats.
Steve's gerbils pass away quite a bit, but he gets more.
Oh my God.
I love Steve. It's all in good fun. All right, so
I love him too, but he can be odd about some things. That's all.
no, you wouldn't say.
Actually, you know what? Really quick, I actually was really entertained by hearing the story of how Dana met Steve.
Oh, were you?
I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, the in-depth old Curly Jaws interview. Actually, I thought he did a really good job with the interview and stuff. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, I like hearing people's stories. I thought it was a pretty cool story.
Yeah, old Curly Jaws is quite the entrepreneur. He's getting involved in a little bit of everything. He's got his own documentary coming out about the life of old Curly Jaws.
Yeah, I want to know about that life. Curious.
Well, I did get an early screener of Amityville old Curly Jaws, and I'm confused.
No.
That's all I'm going to say. The footage from the trailer, I didn't catch any of that in Amityville old Curly Jaws. Just say that. But he's doing a Madman remake. He's doing Creepshow 4. He's doing Amityville Curly Jaws Part 2.
That'd be so sick if Scream Factory put out his Creepshow 4 limited.
Might as well. I mean, they're putting Creepshow 3 out. So
right. Might as well.
So some of the early Anchor Bay stuff, we're getting into Army of Darkness. We're almost, well,
A24. Matt says he heard A24 is partnering with Old Girl. That's funny. He should start his own company, A420. He should start his own label.
Yeah. Little Dumplings putting over the interview too, Dana. I really did. I enjoy stuff like that though. Like to me, I listen to a lot of this stuff at work, and it just helps pass I'm usually working on spreadsheets and a bunch of bullshit all day, and it kind of helps me stay focused.
I agree. I liked when he wanted you to come over and hang out, and you got there. It was like he had like this dinner planned, like this nice date night or whatever.
Candles.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
He's smooth, isn't he?
He had Right by an Angel ready on the
Oh God. TV. I don't know. If he had shown me stuff like that, we might not be married now.
He waited until you said I do and then broke it all out.
Yeah, these are all my rape movies, Dana. Now you can't leave.
Look what I got.
We're
going to make our own now.
He opens the safe. He brings it back out. Oh my God, that's funny.
Poor old Steve.
I mean, Twisted Trunkus says, I wish I could get high. Like, again, I don't do any of that stuff, but I was watching his video where he for my birthday, he got that Radpack tattoo on him. Dude, he smoked like that. He was hitting that bong a bunch of times. Then he took like 3 gummies. And then he went back. I'm like, and then he's walking around the house like nothing's happening. I'm like, what the hell? He's got like no tolerance or anything. I'm like, I would be like, I wouldn't be in work for like 4 days. Like, I don't know what the hell. It's like it doesn't affect him or something like that. I'm like, how does he rip that thing like 3 times, 4 times? It takes 3 gummies and keeps hitting. And then he's
if you do it every day, multiple times a day, you're going to have to start taking more.
Did any of you guys see the video where he was on the shrooms? Oh, that was wild.
No, I missed that one.
Oh man.
Oh, Curly Jaws though, man. So continuing on though, we're going to get started with the Anchor Bay releases for Army of Darkness. They did a ton of VHS releases. I'm confused as how many. There was a limited edition numbered VHS of it, which yes, Anchor Bay did those for a lot of different releases back in the day. I think the limited edition ones were in the clamshell cases, and the regular ones were just in the regular like slip cases. cardboard ones. And then you get started with the DVDs. There was a standard 1999 Anchor Bay. So I think all these were released together. Again, I've got 2 of them actually right here. I think they were all released together. There were 3 different ones. There was a standard edition, which was this one, which I've got it signed by Robert Kurtzman.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And I actually had the VHS of this as well before I had a DVD player. And there was a director's cut that it's like a red cover that has Ash.
Like going like this, like the jacked one? Okay, yeah.
Right.
And there's a limited edition version, which I just recently got. And I'm kind of shocked because I think I paid less than, it was a little over $5 shipped for this thing. And at one point in time, this thing was worth a shit ton of money. We're talking like $100, $150, because it was like limited to 4,000 copies. I don't know if you guys can see it on there. And that's not many for Anchor Bay. I think this was one of, maybe somebody in the chat knows, was this one of the very first limited edition DVDs that they did? This was 1999. Right.
Mine says,
yeah, it's 1999. I see it.
So it's limited, but like, does it come with anything like lobby cards or anything?
Well, you got to remember this was one of the early ones, so it just came with like this sort of deal is what this one comes with.
Yeah, so basically you got both versions on here. You got the director's cut and the theatrical on this. So that's what I think kind of stood it apart. Where the other ones, I think you had to buy either or, and then this one you got both of them in there.
Okay. So I did those 3 releases right together, and the director's cut artwork is badass. That's probably the best artwork of all of them. And I think that one wasn't it in a gold case? The DVD case itself was gold, I think.
I think so. Yeah. And I think I have that somewhere, but that was another one that I could not find.
But I mean, it's just amazing that at one point in time, how much these things were going for. It reminds me of like what the Scream Factory standard collector's editions are going for now that the 4Ks are out. It's like people don't care. They're just like giving them away. So, but that's a killer release. That was one I always wanted back in the day, and I just recently picked it up. Like I said, it was like 5 something shipped.
It's insane to think about that. That's how cheap it's gotten throughout the years, because it's still a cool edition. Like we've talked about this before. I absolutely love those thick cases that they did.
Me too.
I
was trying to find a list on how many there were, but there's nothing really out there. And I think Bad Taste had one, Suspiria. I don't think the Beyond had one, did it?
I don't think. I know Opera had one.
Right.
Demons, I think you got Demons 1 and 2 together.
Yeah, I've got that one, I think.
They had one for Making Contact, which is a pretty cool sci-fi movie that I don't know. Oh, I think Kino might have did a Blu-ray for it, but that's one.
Have one for Reanimator? Wasn't it like a thick green case for Reanimator?
They did, but that was from
though.
I think that was from Elite. Did that thick one, which is almost mimicking the Stuntman.
The Stuntman one and
the Stuntman Mark. Yep.
One of the there you go.
Nice.
This is one of the cooler ones.
Manhunter. Yep.
Right. I remember that.
And this was another one that was limited. 100,000 copies. It's limited to 100,000.
Supergirl had one from Anchor Bay, which is interesting.
Supergirl, and then technically Wicker Man was a limited edition, but it was just in that separate case.
I thought Watcher in the Woods had one, but I was looking on eBay today to try to see if I could pick it up, but I didn't see any of them that were one of those thick cases. So unless I'm wrong, or there's none available, I don't know.
There was a Reanimator that's in that fat DVD case.
Yeah, Elite.
That was in a green. It was in a green DVD case too. But yeah, that wasn't an Anchor Bay one. But Anchor Bay did have. It had the ink pen with it that looked like the syringe. I still have that one over there too.
Me too.
Great edition. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there were a whole
plethora.
Plethora, yes, that's the word. That was all in 1999. 2001, and this just gets ridiculous here. It was the fucking bootleg edition.
This is the one I thought for sure I still owned. I must have sold this because I'm like, I remember buying this thing thinking I was going to get like something incredible because it was weird because it made it look like it was like in like paper bag or something like that, didn't it? Like
That's the one I
Yeah.
had. Like, I sold that one.
Yeah.
and I think it was just the director's cut, I believe. I don't think it was anything different. I think it was only the director's cut that you're getting with that different
Right.
footage.
Yeah, it was.
But I could be wrong again. I just remember when I bought that, I was like, oh, this is going to be so sick, whatever's in here. And I was like, I've already seen all this footage.
Right, because what it was a re-release of the director's cut. The director's cut was out of print. People were going fucking nuts for it. You know, the director's cut version or the limited edition. So that's why they kind of just called it the bootleg cut, I think. I think that was the story there. But yeah, I never did care about that. I thought the artwork on that was awful.
It was nothing. It was like, it's like a bag.
It wasn't artwork, yeah. It was 2003, the Boomstick edition.
I never got that.
I never
Never
did
got
get it
that
either.
one. Because at that point there was nothing new, right? Like maybe was there any new features or they were just renaming it something else?
I'm
like
not
did
sure.
it have both versions on that one maybe again? Or
I don't even really remember the artwork on that one, to be honest with you. Was it the wide artwork with?
No, I think that was the Screwhead edition.
Oh, okay.
Which-
Oh, yeah.
How could I forget?
Which I had the Screwhead edition on Blu-ray.
There it is.
There you go.
The Boomstick edition, the Screwhead edition. I love it. The
So
bootleg edition.
one that I had up until recently, I think I sold it to Curly Jaws. He was getting into HD DVDs there for a while. There was an HD DVD of Army of Darkness. Universal, for anybody wants a little history lesson, HD DVD and Blu-ray came out the exact same time. Sony was the big brand behind Blu-ray, and Universal was the big brand behind HD DVD. HD DVD went out in less than a year, I think. And that was right around the time I got into it because you could basically, like, those titles were like 10 cents, 50 cents a title, something like that online. But yeah, I mean, I actually did have the HD DVD of that at one point in time, and I remember it looking really good. That was 2009. Yep. I think there was a ton of Universal releases out because they were, they were the ones behind HD DVD, only available on HD DVD there for a while. And the Screwhead edition was later on. I think it was the next year. And that was there was a DVD version of that and a Blu-ray. So at this point in time, it was going back to Universal. Anchor Bay wasn't doing these Army of Darknesses anymore. I don't think. I think the Boomstick edition was the last Anchor Bay one.
I looked up the pic. You're gonna know that if you search that image, you're gonna be like, I remember that edition. It was like Ash basically like holding the chainsaw like this, almost like an artwork, but it was a shitty cover.
So yeah, I don't have this one on here, but this is right around the time I think when this one came out. This is Via Vision. I'm sorry. The Army of Darkness Necronomicon.
Ooh, that's sick.
Ooh, that's cool.
And this one, if you can see, you can kind of see the innards of the, I don't know what you call it, the plastic inside and stuff. It's cracked quite a bit. This is dry as a potato chip, man. So I don't want to get it out or anything, but the funny thing is I did do a video on this back in the day, going through it. I found it and I've got it ready. I think it's like a 1-minute clip of me going through the book, and it'll show you how it was designed and stuff. And I think we can talk over it. We should be able to. Can you guys hear us? I think so.
I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one was also designed by Tom Sullivan. You can tell it's very similar to the other releases. I think the artwork was a little bit more detailed on some of these pictures, though, it looks like.
Now, did this sell out quickly? Because I can remember when you put this video out, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy it to go with my other ones, and I couldn't get my hands on it. And I don't know if it was just sold out or if it was just too much money at the time. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure how limited it was, but I know like I was looking for it on eBay just to see because I was thinking about reselling it there a few years ago, and I never could find it on eBay or anything. So I don't know, how rare it is or whatever. One thing I didn't like is how they put the discs in there. They basically taped
Yeah.
It was a 3-disc set, and they taped them in there. It looks like that's kind of amateurish,
especially because like the way it is too, like that piece is sticking out the side a little bit. Like,
yeah,
it's weird, but
these are made exactly like the Anchor Bay ones. Like they're the same size. I think I've got a little bit of the video here. I'll show them both, some of them together. You can see they're pretty much exactly the same. But the weird thing is the Anchor Bay ones have held up pretty well. And this is the newest one. This was from like 2012, I think. There you go. You can see them side by side. And this one's dried out, man. Like if I tried to get this out of the box, it would probably fall apart.
yeah, I would not touch that thing. But it's just so crazy, like you said, like right there, you're looking at it and it's nice and fresh, brand new, and now it's just like you couldn't even ship that. That thing would probably get destroyed in transit.
Oh yeah. If you hit it hard enough, I think all of the plastic or the latex would fall right off of it.
That's cool. I'm glad you had that footage.
But
still.
yeah, here it is today. Yeah. It's still kind of cool looking, but yeah, I don't want to.
How many years ago was that now?
2012, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, eventually the Anchor Bay ones will probably dry out too. But yeah, it's just weird that, that this one is pretty much, and I've seen some of the Anchor Bay ones are kind of dried out too. I guess it just depends on where you store them at, maybe. I don't know.
Does anybody remember everybody complaining how bad those latex Book of the Dead editions smelled when you did take them out of the package?
No, I don't remember.
I don't either. I don't remember that.
You can still kind of, it smelled like to me, it was like a balloon or something. Like, you know how strong some balloons smell? Like when you open them up. That's the only thing I can compare it to. But yeah, I remember opening them out of the package. The smell would fucking almost, like it would floor you almost. It was very strong. Continuing on though, I guess we're into the Scream Factory editions from 2013. I think were these 2013?
Scream Factory
2014.
20. I have a tough time finding these damn dates, huh?
Yeah, me too. I can't see hardly. I'm not sure the year on the Scream Factory ones, but somebody in the chat maybe knows.
But I still have my Blu-ray, and it's a great one. But I don't know if you guys have it. I think this is like one of the first editions where you had to get the
replacement.
The replacement disc, yeah.
What was the replacement for? You know?
I don't remember, no.
Because I watched this, and this is one that I recently picked up because, like I said, some of these movies I'm fine with just an edition like this, especially when the 4K, and we'll talk about the 4K here in a bit. It's only the theatrical version in 4K. The other cuts of the movies on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So to me, that's shitty. But this Blu-ray of the theatrical version looks freaking insane. I could not believe how good the transfer on this thing looked. So I could only imagine. I mean, the 4K I'm sure looks amazing as well.
It does.
But this was like remarkable. I thought I never thought this movie could look that good.
I'm just curious, what edition do you guys prefer? And by that I actually mean like the cut. Director's cut, theatrical.
I actually kind of like the theatrical cut because I like when he goes back to S-Mart at the end. Like I kind of like that rather than just being stuck in the cave or whatever. Yeah, that's kind of where I would stand is probably the theatrical because that's the real big difference is the ending, right? Is there anything else in there
that's like the big thing, but like intermittently, like throughout the movie, you have a bunch of like extra comedy elements thrown in there. A bit more of like stuff with the Deadites, like cracking more jokes. I really do not like the director's cut at all. It's just far too silly. I think the theatrical version has much more of a fine balance of that stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, what's the difference in the running times? Does it say? I know that the theatrical version's like 80. I think it's like 16 minutes actually. The theatrical version's 81 minutes. The director's cut is 96. 9 out of 10 times, I'm always going to like the theatrical cut better. I even like the theatrical cut better for Halloween 6. And
Same
a lot
here.
of people are like, what the hell? But,
And you know what else you get with the theatrical cut? You get, if you're a fan of Ted Raimi, like I am, you get extra Ted Raimi in this, as if you didn't have enough of him.
he plays yet another character.
Well, he's in the S Smart scenes
Yeah.
as well.
What about the international cut? I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's in that one.
It says television version in standard definition full screen. Maybe that's just what it is. They called it the international cut. Huh. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the differences either. Maybe somebody in the chat knows what the difference is on that. Austin seems like he knows a lot about this stuff.
Yeah. Austin is the Evil Dead expert for sure. And we appreciate you joining us and filling us in on some of this stuff.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But yeah, this is, I talk a lot of shit about Scream Factory and I'll still continue to do so, I'm sure. But man, like this is a killer edition right here. So I'm glad, like I got this for $12 shipped on eBay. So I thought that was a killer deal. I don't know if I ever get the 4K. If it's cheap enough, maybe. But I was very, very impressed with this one. And I'm not sure what year this came out, but the transfer on this thing is really good.
People were saying 2016.
Oh, okay. That's not that awful long ago then, like 6-7 years.
But it still doesn't, like, I can still remember getting this, and it doesn't feel like that long ago.
So there was also the steelbook of the same version. Do you guys, and you guys have that?
I don't.
I have. Is it this? Because this is a steelbook I have.
That's the one.
So do you have both versions, Dana? The steelbook and the. Oh, you're hardcore.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
You can tell like, she likes the Evil Dead. That's for sure.
Yes, I do.
And there's also, this was just released in the past year. The 4K Collector's Edition, which, like I said, Garrett's got it there. I love the theatrical artwork for Army of Darkness too. Man, so that's a big thing. That's a big plus. And they did a steelbook version as well. And the steelbook, I think it's one of the better steelbooks that they've ever done. Yeah, it looks really good. I like that steelbook a lot.
And the art on the back is pretty cool too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge steelbook guy, but yeah, that one, I like that one quite a bit. And I'm a big fan of the original theatrical artwork. Like there's a couple of those 4Ks that I'm definitely I want to buy the bullet. Like the Carrie 4K, I'm for sure getting it because I love that artwork. The standard collector's edition. But yeah, what do you guys think of the 4K though? The transfer and everything. Is it a major improvement over the Blu-ray edition? Have you watched both?
I think it looks great, but I mean, again, I didn't do any kind of comparison, so it could look just the same as the Blu-ray for all I know.
Yeah.
I think the color pops a little bit more. I mean, with the HDR and everything, I think it's worth the upgrade.
The only thing that I could see that was maybe a little bit of an issue on the Blu-ray is the blacks aren't as black as it could be. And it probably, with the 4K, they could probably, I'm sure that was improved a little bit, but
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as far as future releases, so there's been so many Army of Darkness releases. What could they do? I know there's going to be more, but I mean, I don't know what they could do.
The only thing I can think of, unless there's more shit out there that we don't know about, the only thing I would think is that they would put all the different versions on 4K if they can. I would love to see a nice box set of like everything, but I don't know if it's all under the same umbrella for us to ever get that.
Right.
Anchor Bay had everything at one point, but now, part 1 and 2 are still under what? Lionsgate?
Yeah. Well, Lionsgate, like they pretty much bought up everything, or I don't know how that works, that Anchor Bay had to a point. So I think, like, I don't know how long their deal is for 1 and 2, but I could see a Steelbook box set. And finally, I mean, it's not that hard. God, I'm from fucking Eastern Kentucky, and I've thought of this years ago. Do the Steel Book of the Dead. Why not?
That would be
People
cool.
would go nuts for that.
I mean, they did that similar for Hocus Pocus when they did the Steel Book of the book with the eyeball and all that stuff, which they could just almost mimic that and do like an embossed steel book that replicates the Necronomicon, you know?
Have they ever done like fatter steel books before for like multiple movies?
Not
Imagine if they
I don't
did
think
like
so.
a doubled up steel book with that embossed. Like,
yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, that would be amazing. I would probably get that.
There was one other release that I know I have, but I couldn't find it through all my stuff. Like, there's a media book edition of Army of Darkness, and it's more along the lines of, like, I mean, you guys know the Necronomicon looks a little bit different in Army of Darkness. It's more along the lines of like that design, and like I have it, but I just couldn't find that damn thing. But that's a really cool edition, and it's pretty rare from what I remember. So yeah, if anybody's interested, like, look that one up.
And I think Garrett, he sent me some photos here I've got of like some international versions.
Oh yeah, these are cool.
Do you remember this one?
Oh,
Yep, I remember that one. I tried the hardest to get that. I could not get
What
it.
company did that one?
I don't remember, but I remember when they came out. Yeah, it's pretty sick though.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Dana never did get that. I mean, that,
yeah,
how cool
I
is that?
missed out on that.
I know a place where you can still get it, but it is super expensive, and I
It's
don't
like
think anybody's going to pay that much for it. It's like
Japanese
$500.
edition, I'm guessing.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, it is Japanese.
And then, I mean, if you guys want to talk about Ash versus the Evil Dead, there's a few different versions of it too. But this is one that he sent that is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's
Yeah,
German, it looks like.
Yeah, it's German.
Yeah, they're big into the media books over there in Germany. So, and Jason Guy actually sent, I think this was the Dagger set. He sent some photos of the artwork on the inside of that book.
Oh, yeah.
While I've got that pulled up here, the anthology, which includes the remake, because I know Dana was really wanting to talk about that remake next.
was I?
One of your favorites. Yeah, one of the best remakes of all time.
Mm.
Oh my god, I loved the remake.
I think I've got a remake disc here somewhere.
Look at that.
Yeah, there's a steel book. Garrett's got them all.
Look at that.
Holy cow. Garrett does really love it.
He's a big fan. I just have the old school Blu-ray, boss. So the original Blu-ray, I think it was this one from 2013. There was also Garrett's got the steel book there. It's a Target exclusive.
This let me see. This, if you open yours, I don't have a slip on mine, but if you open yours, does it have another disc? Because this is bonus disc, and I don't remember if I kept this because it was maybe like a Best Buy exclusive because it had like its.
Mine's just one disc, and my disc is actually still in the Blu-ray player.
So that's why I kept this one, because this was a Best Buy exclusive because it came with a separate disc. What's on that disc, I'm not sure. And then I bought this, which is the Target Steelbook.
I like that artwork. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And then of course I got the 4K only because I didn't own the uncut. Like these both were the theatrical versions, and I know they did come out with an uncut Blu-ray. I just didn't have it. So when that's the big reason why I got this.
I've got that here too. Like it was a 2-disc set, rated and unrated. It was a manufacturer on demand release, so it was from 2018. And I guess what was the studio? Sony or whoever it was doing those MOD releases. And I think you can still get it, but I thought that was kind of odd. It has different artwork and everything on it.
It has like her face like up close, like screaming or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody have that? Dana or Mark? And then the 4K. I'm sure that 4K looks great because the transfer and everything. I mean, well, not the transfer, but just the way it's shot, the movie. It's visually a stunning movie. I mean, I don't think there's any denying that, the way it's filmed and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the unrated, so I didn't watch the theatrical on this, but I feel like it looked great. I'm just happy to finally have that version with me because there's a lot from even the trailer that wasn't in that theatrical version, so it's kind of added all back in here now.
So Dana, you're not a fan. You didn't like the Evil Dead 2013, huh?
You guys probably would have laughed when you saw my face. Because Steve and I went to the movies to see this, and I was just, if you had a mirror up to my face, I'm sure it would have been hilarious. I looked at Steve and I said, "You gotta be kidding me. You got to be kidding me." I said, "That was the biggest waste of my time. I will never get that time back."
Wow.
And I have not changed my mind. You know, Steve's rewatched it at home, and I just refuse to sit down and even give it any more of my time.
I mean, honestly though, like I don't even really see it. I mean, there's a couple of things that you could say it's a remake, but it more or less it's more like a sequel to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it actually was supposed to kind of be a sequel because there's the deleted scene or whatever on the ending after the credits was Ash coming up to her as she's walking away in like a truck or something like that. I don't know if it was supposed to be Ash or was a cameo from Bruce. I don't remember, but they kind of basically left it open ended where it was supposed to. Everybody thought it was going to get a sequel because it did really well, but come to find out, the girl who was the main character like didn't want to do anymore. Like she was kind of done with it.
Money talks, man. They could have paid her.
And you know, this new one, Evil Dead Rise, could in the future be considered a sequel, I think, to 2013. It's not, it doesn't have anything to do with it, but it's very similar in tone. So I think that Dana's not going to like Evil Dead Rise if she didn't like 2013, because I think 2013 is better than Evil Dead Rise is. And I thought Evil Dead Rise was good. I think 2013 is overall better. So I just don't see her probably digging it.
Is it a lot like Demons 2? Was the director obviously a big fan of Demons 2? Or?
I mean, maybe is some aspects of it. But I think it's very similar to 2013 as far as like the direction they took it, and as far as the same kind of gore effects, they try to kind of work the same way. So,
well, I think the big thing that I really, really hated, and I brought this up before about the remake, was number one, if they hadn't called it Evil Dead, if they'd called it anything but Evil Dead, I probably would have been more receptive to it. I might have not loved it, but I might have been okay with it.
Same here. The same way.
The other thing was that damn intervention stuff and the drug addiction. That did not fit at all with the Deadite type of thing. And I was like, that was one of the things I was like, you got to be kidding me here. It just totally did not work for me. But Evil Dead Rise appears to be, it might be similar in tone, but it's not trying to say, okay, this is a remake of the original film. I think of it as like an extension. Now, I might change my mind after seeing it, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely nothing like the other ones in a sense. I mean, it has the same concepts, but because it doesn't take place in the woods, it takes place in an apartment building, right? So I'm looking at it now and I'm like, I wonder if they're just going to Raimi's going to start handing things over to different directors and basically say, make an Evil Dead movie. Here's the things you need to have in the movie, like the book and this, that, and this, Deadites, and then make your own movie. I just don't see this anymore becoming like sequels. I think these just become standalone stories utilizing the same concepts. I think that's what it seems to me now that they're trying to go with, which could be good or bad.
Dane, let me ask you this. Would you have liked it better if they had tried to, like, it was more or less the exact same as the original movie, like Ash is in it, but a new guy's playing Ash? or
I don't think I would have liked that either, because to me, Bruce Campbell is Ash. It's just like Angus Scrimm was the tall man. I couldn't see anybody ever replacing Angus Scrimm as the tall man, and that's the same thing with the Ash character. I can't see anybody else in that role. And Bruce Campbell has come out and said, "Hey, I'm too old to keep playing Ash Williams in these movies." And so, I think it's just time to call it quits with anything with the Ash character. I mean, you can go ahead and make some movies, some more Evil Dead movies, but I wouldn't want to see them do the Ash angle anymore.
rewatching the Evil Dead remake, though, I don't think it's the perfect remake or sequel or whatever, but I think that their idea behind what they wanted to do, Sam Raimi and Rob Tappert and all those guys were producing it. I couldn't have thought of anything better. Personally, I don't see what they could have done. Now, it was overly polished. It looked like $1 million, like a big Hollywood movie. But I mean, honestly, as far as remakes going from that time period, I mean, I thought I kind of liked it, and I know Uncle Bill didn't when we reviewed it originally. He was not a fan either, but I mean, I didn't fall in love with it, but I liked it. I think I still like it.
I think Alfa Romero basically has it down. It almost seems like Raimi's just going to start pimping out the Evil Dead name and just having having a subtitle and basically telling somebody, "Okay, call it Evil Dead this," and then go do your movie. And I just gonna approve it at the end. And again, from his standpoint, it's like just run with it then. If that's what you're gonna do, like make your money.
I think he cares about the name.
He does, but I think
it's not like John Carpenter. John Carpenter getting pot and Xbox money. He don't give a shit.
But I mean, they said that he lets the directors do their thing, but then he has to oversee. Like he's not gonna. It has to get through him. He's almost like the Vince McMahon of like the storyline, basically.
Minus the little mustache.
Yeah, like nothing's gonna get through unless he watches it and says, "Okay, this is good to roll." So, which is good to see that he's
good
that
shit,
involved.
pal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that is it. The Evil Dead Rise comes out this weekend. I don't know when I'm going to get to see it because Hillbilly Days up in Pikeville is this weekend, and they use that parking lot for the movie theater for all the little kiddie rides and shit. And I ain't going nowhere near there, so I don't know when I'll get to see it, but I do want to check it out. And I think Dana, you're going to go see it this weekend, right?
Yep.
What about you, Mark? Are you checking it out this weekend?
I'm going to check it out. Yeah.
Our buddy Garrett's already seen it. He got an early screening. He's sort of a big deal. You can check his review. Your review has actually got quite a few views already. Right. It's one of the early ones. So the Born to Be Rad channel, borntobерad.com, and check that review out that you did with Justin. And I think you liked it, right?
I think overall I liked it. I think I'm trying to think if this was the movie we were talking about. I think I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. So it kind of hangs around that 7.5 range. I probably wouldn't. I think it's fine there. To be honest, I thought it was good. I mean, I had a little bit of problems with it, but I think overall it's still another strong sequel to the franchise. I think Evil Dead is one of those franchises that everything is, in my opinion, is pretty much solid. So there's not those ones that I'm like, I'll never watch that again. So it does its job. It's number 5, I guess you could say, besides the series. So I'm fine with it.
Cool. Guys, this has been a fun show. We still have 120 people watching live, so that's pretty killer at midnight at night. So, but you guys on your channels, Mark, what do you got coming up?
I got a video on The Crow, which I just completed before we started this. It was earlier this morning, so I can't wait to drop that. It's a pretty cool set. It's actually right here. This thing is so sick. It's a wooden box set for The Crow.
Wow, I've never seen that. Yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah, is that an overseas release?
It is.
Okay. Yeah, that's the first time I'd seen that.
Yeah, so that and still my Hellraiser video for Hellraiser 4. I got the bust and the 4K and all that stuff. And just a couple more things like that with props and stuff. And speaking of props, though, do any of you guys have the Kandarian dagger? I think it was Trick or Treat Studios that did that.
Yeah, I didn't get that. No.
Okay, just
No.
wondering that. Yeah, because like the anthology set has this one, and it's pretty detailed. And it's got some weight to it too. This thing's heavy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was just wondering about that.
When it comes to stuff like that, man, I just don't have room for it. Like, I mean, it's like the wrestling figure thing. I was doing that for a while, and I was like, "What? They're just stacked up over here. What am I going to do with them?" So, yeah, unfortunately, if I had more room, I'd probably buy everything. But Dana, what you got coming up? You got a whole thing scheduled out for the next month, I'm sure.
Well, actually, tomorrow night, and I was going to ask Uncle Bill if he was on here, but
his internet ain't
wasn't
going to
on
be
there.
working for a while.
And yeah, and it probably won't be working tomorrow night either. So it probably wouldn't do any good to ask him if he'll be on. The third part of my Twin Peaks series. Actually, it's going to be ending the original series. Then I'm going to wait a little bit and do a stream on the Showtime limited series that came out not very long ago. Let's see what else I got. Fridays, I usually take off. Saturday, I will be doing a He Knows You're Alone watch along. This is the movie that Uncle Bill says is like watching old people eat. So
it's about as exciting as that.
Hey, it's got Tom Hanks in it.
Isn't there like an hilarious like Halloween ripoff theme plays throughout that whole movie? Too?
Yeah,
I think that's the one.
I admit that.
Like the theme and offerings.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, Mark. You know, something I wanted to bring up before we get off of here. How many of you guys have seen High Fidelity with John Cusack?
I've seen it, but I don't even know if I own it, to be honest.
I swear it's got a connection to Evil Dead 2.
Really?
Because there's one scene where John Cusack is like tearing himself apart because his girlfriend has left him. And she's shacked up with Ian. And he just cannot stand it. He's imagining his girlfriend having sex with Ian. And so when he goes back into his record shop, he has this whole discussion with Jack Black's character. He says, "What would you think if I told you that I hadn't seen Evil Dead 2 yet?" And so they have this whole banter back and forth. And the whole thing is his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend at the time told him that she had not slept with Ian yet. So they tied the whole, what would you say if I had said I hadn't seen Evil Dead 2 yet? And Jack Black is like, well, I'd say you're a liar because you went to see that movie with me and Dick. Remember, we all went to see it. We talked about how great it was. But I always loved that scene in High Fidelity when
I never even remembered that, actually.
I don't either.
Yeah,
but a part of me wants to try to track that down because, like I said, I don't even think I own it at all.
I get that movie mixed up with Empire Records or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think they were around the same time, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Garrett, what you got coming up? I know you've got some cool stuff.
To be honest, I tried to keep this week kind of open more or less because, you know, I just got back and I didn't know what I was going to be doing after going there, and I'm going back to work and stuff tomorrow. So I'm definitely doing the Evil Dead franchise ranking. That's going to be out this week. And then I just picked this up, and I've never seen this movie, The Haunting of Julia. Scream Factory 4K just put it out. I've never seen it. I don't own it. It's from the 70s. Do you guys know anything about this? It has another name called Full Circle.
I think Imprint has a version of that coming out, and I'm interested in that too. I think they're going to send me a copy to review, but yeah, it sounds very interesting. I thought.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that I've never come across it. Like, I don't even know if it had other physical media releases at all, because it totally passed me by. So if I can get through this thing, I'll do a review on it, but it all depends on how quick I can get it in.
I know the title, but that is one that I've never watched.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
But yeah, guys, we appreciate everybody sticking around, and check out Stuntman Mark, Evil Dead Chick, Born to Be Rad, Dead Pit. Search for it all on YouTube, and it'll all come right up there. Maybe I'll put the links in the description for the channels too, so everybody can check them out. But it's been fun. I think the only thing that I've got coming up is I did a review on Lover's Lane that Arrow Video has coming out here in the next couple of days. I think some people got it early, but it's 25th, I think, is the official date it comes out. But that's an interesting one, Dana. You probably like that. It's like a 90s.
Actually, I was watching parts of it. Steve was watching it maybe a couple of weeks ago. I'm not going to tell you how he got a copy, because I'm sure it was not. It was
totally legal, however he got it, I'm sure. He wasn't breaking any laws, not Steve.
No, never. Steve wouldn't do that.
Yeah, Steve's just he's a nice gentleman, never raises his voice, gets mad or anything.
Whoa.
He's just a sweet fellow, Steve is.
He can't.
Shut up! All right, guys. But yeah, we appreciate everybody, and definitely thumbs up the video and like everything and subscribe to everybody, and check out the Patreon page, and stay tuned to YouTube and Dead Pit on Patreon, borntoberad.com, evildeadchick.com, stuntmanmark.com, and of course, Dead Pit.
.com.
Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do.
I want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
Hey folks, it's Oak Early Jaws. I might be banned off of YouTube, but that doesn't mean I can get you some great shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. First, we got Steve Benningfield post goes against our community standards in nudity or sexual activity. We got the deadpit.com shirt. We got Cardboard. We got L Lord. We got Tales from the Dark Side. We got Dead Pit. And we got a Princess Puffin shirt, boss. It doesn't get any fucking better. Brandon, add the accident. Oh. But these shirts just get better and better, boss. You gotta go over to shop.deadpit.com and pick you up some shirts right fucking now. What are you fucking waiting for? Do it. Do it now, because Old Curly Jaw said so.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.